Hello students of class 9. See, this is your English literature textbook. It is a collection of ICC poems and short stories, right? In the last video, I have taught you story number third, a horse and two goats. Now this story will continue today also. See, story number third, a horse and two goats, written by Arkin Aran. Before starting this story, I had already told you about the author Arkin Aran and also told you about the brief summary of this story. This story is only the misunderstanding between the two persons, right? American man and a South Indian illiterate villagers named Muni. Now the story will continue. Let's see. Yes, before this, as I have told you about the story, and in this story, first of all, Muni went to a grocery shop where discussion with the grocery man, I mean to say shopkeeper, and after that, from there, I mean to say shop, Muni returned to his home, and he told, see here on page number 54, he later told his wife that scoundrel would not give me anything. Here he is addressing to shopkeeper. So go out and sell drumsticks for what they are worth. He flung himself down in a corner to recoup from the fatigue of his visit to the shop. His wife said, You are getting no sauce today, nor anything else. I can't find anything to give you to eat. Fast till the evening. It will do you good. Take the goats and be gone now. She cried and added, Don't come back before the sun is down. He knew that if he obeyed her, she would somehow conjure up some food for him in the evening. Only he must be careful not to argue and irritate her. Her temper was undependable in the morning, but improved by the evening time. She was sure to go out and work, grind corn in the big house, sweep or scrub somewhere, and earn enough to buy foodstuff and keep a dinner ready for him in the evening. Unleashing the goats from the drumstick tree, Muni started out, driving them ahead and uttering varied cries from time to time in order to urge them on. He passed through the village with his head bowed in thought. He did not want to look at anyone, or be accosted. A couple of colonies along in the temple corridor hailed him, but he ignored their call. The shopman had said that he was 70. At 71, only waited to summoned by God. When he was dead, what would happen? What would his wife do? They had lived in each other's company since they were children. He had been told on their day of wedding that he was 10 years old. And she was 8. None, perhaps a large progeny, would have brought him the blessing of the gods. Only on the outskirts did he lift his head and look up. He urged and built the goats until they meandered along to the foot of the horse statue on the edge of the village. He sat on its pedestal for the rest of the day, The advantage of this was that he could watch the highway and see the lorries and buses passes through the hills, and it gave him a sense of belonging to a large world. The pedestal of the statue was broad enough for him to move around. The sun traveled up and westward, or he could also crouch under the belly of the horse for said. The horse. The horse was nearly life size, molded out of clay, big, blunt, and brightly colored, and reared its head proudly, prancing its forelegs in the air and flourishing its tail in a loop. Beside the horse stood a warrior with scythe-like mustache, blinking eyes, and aquiline nose. The horse itself was said to have been as white as a dhobi was seat, right? And had on its back a cover of pure brocade of red and black bleach, matching the multicolored sash around the waist of the warrior. But none in the village remembered the splendor, as no one noticed its existence. Even Muni, who spent all his walking hours at its foot, never bothered to look up. It was untouched even by the young vandals of the village who gashed trees trunks with knives and tried to topple off milestones and inscribed lewd designs on the walls. This statue had been closer to the population of the village at one time when this spot brooded in the village. Muni sat at the foot of the statue, watching his goats grazing in the arid soil among the cactus and lantanas bushes. He looked at the sun. It had tilted. It had tilted westward, no doubt, but it was not the time yet to go back home. He went too early. His wife would have no food for him. Also he must give her time to cool off her temper and feel sympathetic, and then she would scrunch and manage to get some food. He noticed now a new sort of vehicle coming down at full speed. It looked like both a motor car and a bus. He used to be intrigued by the novelty of such spectacles, but of late work was going on at the source of the river on the mountain, and an assortment of people and traffic went past him, and he took it all casually and described to his wife later in the day everything he saw. Today, while he observed the yellow vehicle coming down, he was wondering how to describe it later to his wife when it stuttered, when he sputtered and stopped in front of him. A red-faced foreigner who had been driving it got down and went round it, stooping, looking and poking under the vehicle. Then he straightened himself up, looked at the dashboard, stared in Muni's direction, and approached him. Excuse me, is there a gas station nearby, or do I have to wait until another car comes? American person asked to Muni. He suddenly looked up at the clay horse and cried, "Marvelous!" Without completing his sentence, Muni felt he should get up and run away and crushed his eyes. He could not readily put his lines into action. The red-faced man wore khaki clothes, evidently a policeman or a soldier. Muni said to himself, Muni thought, socha ki he is a policeman or soldier. He will chase or shoot if I start running. Some dogs chase only those who run. Oh Shiva, protect me. I don't know why this man should be after me. Meanwhile, the foreigner cried, Marvelous! Again. Nodding his head, he paced around the statue with his eyes fixed on it. Muni sat frozen for a while and then frizzed and fizzed and tried to ask way. Now, the other man suddenly pressed his palms together, smiled, and said, Namaste. How do you do? Right? Okay, students, now I want to stop it here, and this story will continue in the next video. Very soon we will meet.